Yeah, it's gonna be close.
Well, you could choose to wait and take him next week when everybody else does, and I'll just tell him you can't graduate. I mean, that'd be a lot easier for me, to be honest with you. So. No, that's why you're taking your computer. You may want to take a pencil in case you need to do any scratch paperwork or anything like that. For what?
It's been chaotic.
Okay, but that's like forgetting your car when you go somewhere.
I forgot my car
Just go.
keys in my
Just
car
go.
twice.
I don't want to hear it. Just go.
Oh, the crap.
4 days, Kevin, and you couldn't charge your
You have
computer?
to stay. You have to go to the library.
What? Well, no, you had 4 days off.
Yeah.
And you're charging your computer in the first hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have time to go on my computer all this weekend, so I was busy. Yeah, I don't know. Right.
I was on Zoom. So
Yeah.
that was boring as hell. Not
You
gonna
want
lie.
time notes? Here you go.
I'm just glad I didn't have to
Here you go, Mr. Ben. If you want time notes, there's not
I don't
even
need
no.
science notes, Zoe. I'm pretty good with science.
If you want,
But thank you.
teeny tiny writing. Not tiny
That's
writing.
my dream
I
background.
work tomorrow and
Like it was
Friday.
accurate and powerful. I was
And then Saturday.
All right. For the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the board, see what we're going to be doing today, what we're going to be working on and stuff. Week from today is your final Unit 8 test. And then a week from Thursday will be your final exam. So keep that in mind. Right? Come on, Mariana, you can get started here. There's no reason you got to wait for pay. Okay. Either seat, that's fine.
Where's Mr. Benson today?
He's gonna
That's a good question.
He's gonna have me hard. I just know it.
You want teeny tiny writing?
I'm at 2%.
There might be a few questions about acid and bases on there. Where you haven't cut them yet.
No.
All right, for the rest of you, ladies, you have 4 days and you can't charge your dang computer.
Mr. Ben.
Don't even give me this, okay? This is your responsibility, okay? You can throw up your hands and talk all you want. But again, at some point, you've got to take responsibility for your actions and do what needs to be done, okay? So.
Yeah, that was sleeping the whole time. And working.
The nice part is when you're sleeping or working, you can plug your computer in and let it charge, and it will be just fine on the Monday or Tuesday or whatever day you need it next. So it's not like you have to watch it while it's charging. There's absolutely no reason for it not to be done. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So while we're waiting for Faith to get back, and then I have to go get her started. If you could live on any TV show that you want to, what TV show would you live on? So would you like to be in one of those soap opera-ish TV shows where there's all the drama and people sleeping with each other and all that stuff? Would you like to be on a comedy? Would you like to be on a cartoon? Do you want to be SpongeBob's friend? So, or again, there might be shows I've never heard of because I don't have a lot of streaming services. So pick one.
I'm a girl.
Sword Art Online. Don't even say he's the true blood sportsman. That was just my favorite anime. Or that, or I'll go to the world of Pokemon. Okay, then I'll agree. Me and Charizard would kick ass. Me and Charizard would kick ass.
They turn themselves into new animals and they discover like it's cool.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't mean
I'm a big kid.
You build them in. Oh my god. There's a problem. That's what you get for just sitting on the phone.
Come at the door and knock and let me know. Otherwise, good luck to you. You'll get your sign-out sheets today during home base. Tomorrow, when you're actually all finished with the final exam, that'll be the last thing, and then I will sign it for you so that you are done. Okay? But I
Get there soon enough.
Okay. If something does happen tomorrow and you're absent, you're still gonna be here on Thursday morning, so we could finish then as well. But you should be able to get.
What am I gonna do
Okay.
with all this sequence?
Alright, good luck. Alright, what TV show you gonna be worth living on, ladies and gentlemen? Zoe, go ahead. You go first.
Pokemon.
What?
The Pokemon.
You're gonna be on the Pokemon?
Pokemon.
Okay, okay.
The
Alright.
Pokemon.
What TV show you wanna live on? Ethan.
The world of Beyblade.
What?
World of what?
The world of what?
It's a
I think
cartoon.
everybody.
It's with the Beyblade.
Oh,
Okay.
let him explain. Okay.
It's the world of Beyblade. It's an anime that
Okay.
I grew up watching as a child.
Okay. Okay. Little more sense.
Still
I
watch
know
it.
some anime.
Okay, good. Go for it. Go for it. Anybody else?
And there's this cartoon called The Loud House, and it's a boy that has 11 sisters.
10 sisters.
And he's
Zoe.
And he's
Let-
the only boy. Well, that makes it even better if I was in there.
Okay. Okay. Stranger Things. Okay, so you want to be scared or freaked out? Okay. Okay. Christian, what TV show you want to be on?
Probably Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb. Okay. Okay.
That's a good one.
Brianna? No TV show at all? All right. Jimena? Or I'm sorry. Kayana, sorry. My bad. I saw you and I said a different name. Sorry. What do you got? South Park. Okay. Would you be somebody who gets killed every episode?
No, I'm not gonna be Kenny.
Okay. Well, you don't have to be Kenny. They could kill you off. You could be Karen and or Kayana and they could kill off Kayana in every episode. So that's about all I know about South Park, too, ladies and gentlemen, is that they kill off Kenny in every episode. So poor Kenny, he's the famous one who gets killed every time.
Justice for Kenny.
All right. Jaslyn, what TV show you want to be on?
Probably Grey's Anatomy.
Okay. Because you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, or you just want to be on a show where people are just, doing, nasty things all the time? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Lucy, what TV show?
Maybe like SpongeBob or something.
Okay. Okay. All right. Jimena? Okay. Fair enough. Kevin?
The world of speed racing.
The world of speed racing?
Yeah, it's speed racing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ethan?
Family Guy.
Family Guy? Okay. Okay. All right. Miss Art, what do you think?
I don't know. I was thinking Friends, but then I was thinking like NCIS.
Okay. Okay. One of those crime series? Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I'd go back to Cheers.
Ooh, that would be a good one too.
Cheers was a comedy set in a bar.
Oh.
The place where everybody knows your name. That's what I would go back to. I'd go back to Cheers. So, okay, now here's a follow-up question. You can be on any reality show. What reality show are you going to be on? I'm going to be on Survivor.
My wife and kids.
What? My wife and kids?
That's a Reality show?
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
I haven't either.
Pimp My Ride.
Okay.
That's my favorite one.
Which one?
Pimp My Ride.
Okay. Okay. I guess I was thinking of, I was thinking of a reality show with a prize at the end.
Oh,
So like a Survivor, one of those, one of those Naked and Afraid, the Big Brother,
Deal or No Deal Island.
Deal or No Deal Island.
I think Amazing Race would be cool.
Amazing Race would be cool. I think that would be the one that I could get my wife to do, but we would never do it. So my wife likes that show. And running all over the world and things, that would be kind of cool. So.
I don't think I could actually do it, but
Yeah.
that one would be cool.
It would be cooler than the Survivor because in Survivor you're always like eating bugs and things like that. No.
What?
No.
You wouldn't mind that?
What?
You wouldn't mind that for like $1 million? Like,
No. I don't know. Any of you ever remember the show Fear Factor?
Yes.
Mm.
I watched that growing
Fear
up.
Factor, they always had one part two where they would involve like animals or snakes or something where you had to. Nope, not for me. Anybody else? Reality TV show?
The Circle.
Oh, sorry, thank you. The what?
The Circle.
What is that? I have no idea.
It's a social media competition where there's like 8 players, and they all live in like their own like apartments, and then it's like they chat on the thing called the Circle. It's like a social media platform, and then at the end you win like 100,000.
So, do they have competitions?
Yeah,
or?
you gotta vote people out. It's like
Okay.
different like activities and stuff.
Well, what's the name of that one?
The Circle? Okay.
You can be yourself or you can be a catfish. It's pretty cool.
Yourself or what?
A catfish.
Okay.
Okay. One of the game shows I heard of was The Cube.
The Cube? That one I don't,
Wait.
not familiar with. So,
I watched it before.
okay. I can believe there's been a lot of
It's
game
like-
shows and stuff.
It's like a
Gentlemen.
level. It's like level
It's
based.
kind of rude when
Like
someone's
you have like a
talking
little
to you.
mini
Just
game,
help
but it's
me
kind of like
conversation,
miniature,
okay?
kind of. But it's like mini games, and each time you win one, you have 9 lives, and each level you go up, you get more money increased, and like different
Christopher, come on, sit over here.
different
please. Okay, thank you.
stuff in it, like different mini
On
games
this
and all
side of the
that.
room. There's lots of open seats over here,
That
so
actually
take one.
sounds kind of interesting, Zoe. I might have to look up that one.
It is a good show. I seen it actually on TV.
You said it's called The Cube?
Mhm.
Alright, I
Thank
have
you,
to
sir.
look up that one. Sounds quite interesting.
It's like a game show.
What else?
Game show I'm talking about.
Any other reality shows you'd be interested in being on?
what about like a host of a reality show?
Okay, well, when do you want to host?
I don't know.
Just be the host?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good gig. Watching people embarrass themselves or,
Oh yeah.
go through challenges and then at the end you're like, I saw that coming.
And be like, wipe out. Be like,
Wipeout.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would have been a fun show to be on.
They
too.
actually have a video game of that.
I know.
Crime Scene Kitchen, I think, would be fun.
Yeah, if you're into baking, those crime scene kitchens are those where you got to figure out what they were supposed to make and things.
I want to be on MasterChef.
Okay, can you cook?
Yes,
Okay, that's a good thing.
really good too.
Okay. I often
Would
wonder,
you want to have Gordon Ramsay yelling at you all the time?
Yes.
you know what? He's made a living out of doing it.
Oh,
Because between MasterChef, and the best part is when it's MasterChef Kids version,
Oh,
and he's yelling at an 11-year-old, I'm like, dude,
No.
chill out a little bit. Chill out a little bit. The kid's 11, okay? They're souffle felt. Deal with it.
I could be on Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, there's another one where they just get reamed all the time. All the time. So
It's a risk I'm willing to take.
that's like the people who let him into their business for like that Kitchen Nightmare show.
Oh my God,
Yells
that
at him.
was
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yes, it does.
Some of these restaurants horrible though on that show.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They definitely need the help. So, any other reality TV?
Just say Wipeout is the best one.
I remember Wipeout was like the big thing, you know.
And they still have it on TV.
It's still on TBS,
There's
I
a
believe.
new one.
Yeah,
with,
there's a
like,
new one
big
with.
balls.
with John Cena, and somebody else is hosting it. It's similar to the original. They do a lot of the same ones. The one that I never understood. Well, no one. I don't think I saw, but one person ever make it through it. Is one where you got to run across the wall and it has the punching bags that come up and hit you. I've only seen one person ever make it actually across that without getting wet. So.
Oh wow, I never saw one.
I did see one person.
Would be done would be forged in fire.
That'd be a cool competition show too. But you know, there's so many different channels out there that, like you said, the circle and other things like this. I've never heard of some of them. What was the other one I was thinking of besides? Did you ever see the show Minute to Win It?
Yes.
Where you had to do the contest, like balance
That's
an
kind of
egg
like
on a domino or something like that.
that's kind of like the cube.
Okay. Minute challenges and then
It's kind of like the cube.
Okay.
Instagram, Wheel of Fortune.
I would rather be on Jeopardy, but it's got to be the celebrity version of Jeopardy.
So it's easier.
Why? Because they make the questions way easier. I watched the
I
celebrity
realized that.
version and I've watched the Masters tournament. And I'm like, the Masters tournament, I'm lucky to get one. Celebrity Jeopardy, I'm like, how are you people so dumb? Seriously. And there's categories that I'm not good at, but I mean, I'm like, you people are dumb. The one time, oh my God, it was Jalen Rose from the NBA. He's an NBA player, former NBA player. He was on there. And they would give the answer. And he would ask the question that was the answer, So it was like, this state has, Mount Rushmore in it. He's like, well, that's the state with what is the state with Mount Rushmore in it? No, that's wrong, dude. That's so wrong. So wrong. So, all right. We do have one more topic we're going to get through, ladies and gentlemen, and that is acids and bases. So we're going to start with that today. Tomorrow we're going to do a little lab activity on it. Thursday we will talk about it a little bit. But before we get into acids and bases, I want to finish up one thing. I want to talk about the redox reaction worksheet that we did, ladies and gentlemen, just because that is going to be a big part of what's on your test. So I'm just looking at the answer key. If you want to take a look at it, that's fine. If you turn it in after today, it doesn't matter because I'm only going to give you credit for turning it in. I'm not going to put a grade in the grade book for it. Matter of fact, I don't know if I even put it in the grade book itself. So it does not matter, ladies and gentlemen. But here is the first reaction, and this is one we did. Iron would be a 0, hydrogen a +1, chlorine a -1. Over here, iron is a +3, chlorine is still a -1, and hydrogen is a 0. So because chlorine is -1 to -1, it is unchanged. Hydrogen goes from being a +1 to a 0. That means it is reduced because its charge went down. Iron is a 0 to a +3. That means it is oxidized. Okay? Next reaction, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we've got chlorine, a -1 with zinc, a +2, hydrogen a 0. Hydrogen is a +1 with this chlorine that's a -1, and zinc is a 0. So what substance is reduced? Zinc is. It goes from a +2 down to a 0. What substance is oxidized? Hydrogen goes from a 0 to a +1. And because chlorine doesn't change, it is neither. Okay? It is neither. All right, a different reaction. This one is a synthesis reaction. The two lone elements both start out as 0, but in the compound, sodium becomes a +1, bromine becomes a -1. So sodium goes from 0 to a +1. That is not what is reduced here. These two need to be flipped. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. That is a mistake on the key. Sodium should be oxidized because it is becoming more positive. Okay, it is losing electrons. The bromine is becoming more negative. And since there is no third thing here, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing that is unchanged. There doesn't have to be. But you will never, ever, ever, never find reduction without oxidation. They have to be together, ladies and gentlemen, have to be. So let's change this so that I get that corrected. That looks a lot better, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So here, ladies and gentlemen, again, hydrogen a +1, bromine a -1, zinc is 0, zinc a +2, hydrogen is 0 here. Again, remember lone elements. Those are the ones that mess us up because we start thinking about, okay, looking at the periodic table, what charge would it be? Well, the charge when anything is alone is 0. Anything alone is 0. And even though it's H2, what I mean by alone is there's not a second element involved because there's not another capital letter. So we got zinc, which is a +2, bromine, which is a -1, hydrogen's a 0. So hydrogen's going from a +1 down to a 0, ladies and gentlemen. That means it is being reduced. Zinc is going from a 0 to a +2. That means it is oxidized, and bromine is unchanged because it's a -1 at the start and a -1 at the end. Please remember, anything that's in a compound on both sides, it will not change. It will not change. It will be the substance that stays the same. All right. Number 5, ladies and gentlemen, silver is a +1 in a compound. Bromine is a -1. Copper is a 0 when it's alone. In this compound, copper is a +2 because there are 2 bromines that are -1s. So we got to balance off that -2 charge with copper, which is a +2. Silver is alone over here. So silver goes from a +1 down to a 0. It is what is being reduced. Copper goes from a 0 to a +2. It is what is oxidized. And again, bromine is unchanged. So it stays the same. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, normally, most of the nonmetals do not change charges. Okay? Occasionally, they will go from a 0 to something, to a negative. But again, in these compounds, they're the ones that are not changing because they're not alone. Okay? Now, again, this one we did before, ladies and gentlemen. This is the reaction for rusting. Lone elements are 0 and 0 here. Again, the iron here is a +3. The oxygen is a -2. And we've been through how you figure that out multiple times. Even if you don't know that iron is a +3, if you simply know that it is positive because it is in a compound, that's enough to realize that from 0 to a positive number is going to be oxidation. And going from 0 to a negative number, oxygen is being reduced. There is nothing that is unchanged here. Questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So that was that worksheet for you, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you on your test, you are going to have to recognize a half reaction. In other words, is the half reaction being oxidized or reduced? And it still comes down to charges. Something has to go from being a positive charge to a negative, or something's charge has to go down, something's charge has to go up. Okay? I will tell you this, in those half reactions that we were talking about last week, though, the half reactions are only either oxidation or reduction. Now, you can never have just one half reaction happen, but they could show you a half reaction, in which case it will be either oxidation or reduction. You may not necessarily find both. Okay? Questions? All right. So if you would, ladies and gentlemen, open up your EISNs. All right? And get to slide number 45. That's where we're going to start talking about acids and bases, ladies and gentlemen. Slide number 45. Okay. All right. So I did today, ladies and gentlemen, in the grade book, I listed that we're going to do the lab, which will be tomorrow. Will be due on Thursday. And then the other assignment that I put in the grade book today was the unit test, but that's not till next Tuesday. And I also have the final exam in there, because here's what's going to happen. After we take the unit test on Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesday, we'll go over what's going to be on the final. Now, I will put it out there in Google Classroom ahead of time. So if you want to start looking over what's going to be on the final, it'll be the topics from units 5 through 8. Okay? Here is the other thing, though. I will be able to tell you next week, Wednesday, before finals start, what you need to get on the final to keep your B, your C, your D, whatever grade you have. And I will let you know. And some of you may only need to get like a 20% on the final to keep whatever grade you have. Okay? I will let you know that. Okay? So just so you know. All right. So today we're going to begin with this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be, yes, sir, Christopher.
Can you go to charges
I will go see if there's one in the back, sir. Get open to this slide and then I'll explain what to do. We doing okay? Any questions? Okay. There are none back there, sir. Sorry. Okay. So here's what you're going to do in this activity, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have 3 boxes down here. If you want to make another box, that is completely your choice, okay? You can make them smaller. You can move them around, whatever you want to do. But what this activity is about is it's a classifying activity. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the names of all of these compounds, okay? So take a few minutes and look through them all. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to partner up, and I'm going to ask you to take these compounds and put them into groups in these boxes. Now, again, if you want more than 3 boxes, you can do one of 2 things. You can put some at the top and some at the bottom to separate them, okay? You can take this box and make it smaller, and you can make another box here. However you want to go about doing it, it is completely up to you. But what I want you to do is in the end, when I ask you, okay, what elements did you, or what compounds did you put together and why, you have to give me a reason for how you put them together, okay? Now, if you want to do it alphabetically, you can, but I don't know that that makes the most sense. So when you look at the names here, ladies and gentlemen, you can start separating them, and then even after you have separated them, maybe you could look within the ones that you've separated and find a way to separate them in a little bit more even, okay? So that is what I'm going to be asking you to do. So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give you about 7 minutes. Look at these compounds and then start separating them. Again, you can get with a partner, ladies and gentlemen, a partner of your choice. You can pull your desks next to each other and you can talk about and decide how you want to separate them, okay? And then you can simply drag on the box when you click on it. These are all text boxes. So if you drag on them and get an arrow that has a 4-headed arrow up and down and left and right, you can then click on it and drag it and put it into whichever one of these you wish. Okay? So that is what I would ask you to do right now, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, get to work on it, grab a partner, and again, we'll give you about 7 or so minutes to get it done, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go.
I can get a little sticky now.
Literally came up with
Next to mine.
Put them into like different boxes. Like, do whatever you want.
So again, when you classify things, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking for commonalities in the name. How can you put them together based on some commonalities? What do they have in common?
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you might put a bunch together, and when you look a little bit closer, you might say, oh, well, wait a minute, I could separate these a little bit more by this or this. So I would start by just putting things into different categories based on the names that you're seeing.
I did not say to bring that text box out. You dumb thing. It said, bring you over. Thank you. And then,
Dude, I've gone so used to it,
oh yeah.
I should most definitely still. Yeah.
Aha.
I'll be stuck.
Aha. Not ending US. Aha.
Yeah, with somebody.
I have ideas here.
Doing it with them?
See how the chloric and the carbonic, and then I see for the bromist and the sulfate and this one, and in US. You see what I'm saying? At the ending.
You can slide it back.
You get what I mean? Right, because of there's two E. A lot of IC though. At the end, I said thank you. Get all of you. Thank you. That's it. I said, get over you. You did not like me, thank you. And then the hey, get over you. You do not like me. I don't want to fail. I do not want to fail. Right over you, thank you. What do you do? I see. Get over you. This is a little bit. Wow, thank you. Aha, I died. Yeah, multiple categories here. The I, then the IDE. You see where my pattern's going? With the ending sound. With the last ending letters.
Mr. Brenner, I see Mrs. Dark this weekend.
You see her this weekend coming up or this last weekend?
No, I see her last weekend. She got ice cream.
What? You mean teachers and people are allowed to go out and do things like normal people?
We went to the Frosty Tip.
Is that in Sturgeon Bay?
Think so.
Okay. And you were there as well, Victoria?
Mm-hmm.
Were you working or just there?
We were just there.
See, it was a good day to get ice cream, apparently.
It was busy.
See, it was a good day to go get ice cream, apparently.
It was a Friday night and they have their fish fry again, so
Okay.
it's always busy on Friday night when they have their fish fry.
Did you get food there too, Mrs. Dirk, or did you just get ice cream?
I got fish fry.
IDE. This ain't like in May. IDE. See where I'm going with the IDE part? Okay, I said, thank you. Thank you. Once I get most of these cleared, I can add. Aha. Get over here. Come on, I want you to laugh. Give me.
What time does Miss Bukowski date?
About now, because she just walked in.
I said about 8 o'clock.
She don't have a class first hour?
Nope.
Lucky her.
She, her day is shorter than most teachers. She's on a shortened schedule, so she can drop her kids off and pick them up. So she doesn't have to be here first hour, and she doesn't have to be here fifth hour.
Lucky.
Well, Zoe, how many classes are you taking next year? You'll be done at half a year, right?
Yearly term, 2 yearly term and best electives.
So.
I need at least 3 electives.
All right, are we ready to try to figure this out, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm still text boxing mine. But you can go ahead.
All right, let's try to figure out what most of you did. Okay? So give me some ways that you separated these things, ladies and gentlemen. What did you do? Okay, Anna, go ahead.
By the last words, like with lithium sulfide, sodium chloride, like the IN.
Oh,
I put the acids together.
okay.
I
Okay.
put those together.
Okay. So you put the acids together. You put the ones that ended in hydroxide together. And then you put the ones that kind of ended in IDE together. Okay, Zoe?
I did like, and it in IDE, and then it said end in IC all together, and then the US all together.
Okay, so you did the IC all together, the OUS all together, and then the ones that ended in IDE all together.
Yes.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
I did all the not sulfide, but the I in one column, all the acid in one column, and then the
Hydroxide?
in the other column.
Okay. All right.
I did sulfide, well, the ones that had sulfur,
Okay.
the
Sulfur at the beginning and at the end?
Yep.
Okay.
any sulfur.
Okay.
So hydroxide and the hydro beginnings
Okay.
are all in like split column,
Okay.
and then everything else.
Okay. Anybody else? First of all, there is no right or wrong way to do this, just so you know. Okay? When someone gives you an activity like this and says classify things, you can do it however you like. Now, I have never heard of some of those ways of doing it. I've been doing this for a while, and I've never had anybody put all the sulfur together. But when I started looking at this, there are quite a few sulfur compounds on here. Okay? One of them is on here twice. Which one? I got this one here. I got sulfurous, and I got sulfurous here. So those are basically on the same. I accidentally repeated one, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll take care of that. Okay? Zoom. Where are you? All right. So we can agree, though, a lot of us, and again, not everybody, but a lot of us put all the acids together, correct? Okay, so let's do that. Let's put the acids together. So here's a sulfuric acid, and I'm just going to put them in this first box because it's easier. Here's one that ends in acid. I'm going to put it in here. Here's one that ends in acid. I'm going to put it in here.
Do we have to do that?
No, you don't have to. Leave yours the way it is. I'm getting rid of that one because that was actually the same as the other one. Put this one in here. That's an acid. This one is an acid. Put that in here. Acid. 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 And an acid. Okay. So I got all the acids together. So now I've got these that all end in IDE, correct?
Yeah.
But some of you separated those. And how did you separate those? Even though they all ended in IDE, how did some of you choose to separate them? Ethan, did you just put them all together?
Yeah. Well,
That's okay. Go ahead, Victoria. So anything with an IDE you put together?
yeah.
Okay, well, let's do that. So these all end in IDE. So if you chose to put all of those together, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is one way of separating them. We have all the ones that end in acid and all the ones that end in IDE together. Okay, I'll take that. But now when you look at these acids, ladies and gentlemen, what do you notice about some of our acids? Now that we have them all together here, what do you notice about some of them? Or what do you notice about their names?
Some of them end in IC.
Okay, some of them end in IC. What do the other ones end in, Zoe?
US.
OUS. Okay, so we could, if we wanted to, take these, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say that the first words in front of acid look like they're all compounds.
Okay, the first words in front of acid look like they're all compounds. Well, let's do this at least. Here's an OUS acid. Let's just slide it down to the bottom for now. Let's take this ic acid and move it up. This is an OUS acid. Let's slide it down. This is an ic acid. Let's slide it up. Because again, sometimes we separate things and then we realize, oh, maybe we could have separated them a little bit more. So I'm going to actually take these and I'm going to put these over into here. Because while they're acids, they end in OUS. So I wanted some more room to work over here. Okay, so what do you notice about the acids that we have left here now? They all are ic acids, absolutely. No question there. Anything else you notice about them? Looking just in that green box.
Some end in RIC, some end in DIC.
Some end in RIC. Where do you...
Like
Yeah.
Okay, Rick. Okay.
I get it.
All right.
I understand where you're going with that.
I do too, but okay. All right. So you could put the Rick acids together, but the other ones are M and D. So that, and N. Okay. That's the biggest thing you notice about them?
I mean, it's the only thing that I noticed.
Really?
Yeah.
Anybody else notice anything about the names of some of them compared to others?
Some of them are short, and there's one that really bothers me is hydrosulfuric acid
Why does that bother you?
because it seems all I guess.
What's that?
It seems abnormal compared to other ones
Compared to which other ones?
like nitric acid, chloric acid, sugar.
Okay. So hydrosulfuric acid bothers you compared to the other ones?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's more like a compound than just one word.
Okay. All right. Nathan?
Some have hydro, some have. I mean, it's mostly hydro. There's two that have sulfur in it.
Okay. So some begin with what?
Like some begin with hydro, some begin with sulfur.
Well, chromic and carbonic don't begin with sulfur.
Don't you have two of the same ones?
Which ones?
Sulfuric acid.
Oh, you're right. I do. I got sulfuric acid on here twice again, too. Sorry about that. So let's get rid of this one. Sorry. That's why it seems to be there so prevalently. But again, there was sulfurous acid. We moved that out over here. Now there's sulfuric acid, and then there's also hydrosulfuric. What do you mean by plural, non-plural, sir?
The blue ones end with an S, and none of the ones in the green end with an S.
Okay, they definitely have a different ending. We separated these two out because they ended up with that OUS, right? And you're right. It does sound like it's plural because normally when things end in an S, that makes them plural. It is not the case, but that is a very good observation. Okay? But again, going back to these ones in green, how could we separate these even a little bit more? But let's put the ones with hydro together and the ones without hydro together. So if we put the ones with hydro together, we get three of these that are hydronitric, hydroiodic, and hydrosulfuric. And those just sound differently than sulfuric, chromic, and carbonic, right? Now, we could slide these up a little. And I could do this. Wow, that might be the worst line I've ever made. Let's try this again. Still not making a very good line for me, is it?
They're like you.
There we go. We finally got it. We're good. So can we agree that we could have separated all of our acids this way? They're all acids. Absolutely. They ended the word acid. How can they not be acids, right? But there are acids that have a hydro in front of them. Okay? Well, that does mean something. We'll explain in a minute. There are acids that end in ic, and there are acids that end in OUS. Those are the three main categories of acids. Hydro, acids that end in ic, and acids that end in OUS. So, again, maybe you did or did not separate them this way. This is the way you could have done it, though. All right? Now, these names over here, is there any more separating we can do with these? Is there any way to separate those even a little bit more? You've got them into one area because they all end in IDE, and I agree with that. They all do end in IDE, but now all of these ended with acid, and we found a way to separate them some more. So all those ones that end in IDE, is there another way of separating them a little bit more?
You can move all the ones that have hydroxide at the end to one side of the box.
They all do.
Okay. They don't all have hydroxide at the end.
Except one. Two
So let's take this one that does not have hydroxide, and I'm going to move it because it's easier. And then where? Bromide. We'll put those in the middle. And all of these end in hydroxide. So again, even though these all ended in IDE, maybe this is a better separation of them because, again, we have ones that don't really kind of have a pattern to them other than they end in IDE. But these all end in that same one word, hydroxide, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe it's better to separate them out that way. That's fine, okay? Well, what you've just done, ladies and gentlemen, is you've just separated things into acids, things that are neither an acid nor a base, and these are all what we call bases, ladies and gentlemen. These are all what we call bases. Okay? So, again, not everything is an acid, not everything is a base, but many things are, ladies and gentlemen. In tomorrow's experiment, not only are we going to look at acids and bases, things that we know are acids and things that we know are bases, but we're going to look at some common things. Soda, we're going to look at tap water, we're going to look at Windex, we're going to look at bleach, we're going to look at some of these very common things, and we are going to see, are they acids or are they bases, or is it possible that they are neither? Because remember, they can be neither. Not everything is reduction and oxidation. Some things were not redox reactions. The same is true here. Some things are acids, some things are bases, some things are neither. All right, let's take a minute and let's talk about acids and bases. Now, I got to get my screen back to normal because otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to mess us up on the next slide. All right, let's go back to this. There we go. All right, so what is an acid, ladies and gentlemen? This is slide number 46, okay? This is slide number 46. An acid is any substance that increases the hydrogen ion concentration when you put it into water, okay? So all acids have to have what in them? Hydrogen. They all have to have hydrogen in them. So if you look down here, ladies and gentlemen, at the formulas for some examples of acids, they all begin with hydrogen. All acids begin with hydrogen, okay? Jaslyn, Victoria, you may want to get this because this is actually going to be on your test, okay? So, when that hydrogen gets attracted to water, which it does, it creates what is called a hydronium ion, H3O+, okay? All that is a hydrogen ion that has attracted itself to water, okay? It has attracted itself to water, and it is now with the water. You can do it either way. You will see people who talk about acids as just a hydrogen ion, or you will see some people who talk about acids as a hydronium ion. Either one means that it is an acid. Either way you look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Now, acids are sometimes called a proton donor. Okay? They are sometimes called a proton donor. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the reason is actually quite simple. If you look at an acid, all acids have what element with them, ladies and gentlemen? Hydrogen. So let's look at a hydrogen atom. How many protons are in a hydrogen atom, ladies and gentlemen? 1. How many electrons are in a hydrogen atom? 1 to start out, because all atoms start out neutral. And if you've got a proton, you've got to have a neutron. Now, normally the mass number is 1 for a hydrogen atom. Normally the mass number is 1. And the mass number is equal to the number of protons plus the number of neutrons, correct? So if you have 1 proton and your mass number is 1, how many neutrons do you have? Well, remember, this number plus this number equals that number. 0. So literally, ladies and gentlemen, a hydrogen atom looks like this. Here's the nucleus. It has a proton in it. Most don't even have a neutron in it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, outside of that nucleus, there is 1 electron floating around outside of it. Okay? That is the entirety of a hydrogen atom. That is everything that is there. Now, to become a +1 ion, ladies and gentlemen, for hydrogen to be a +1 ion, what does it have to do to become a +1? So this electron here has to go away to become this +1 ion. So when it does that, what is the only thing that is left? That's why it's called a proton donor. That's the only thing left to the entire atom is a proton in the nucleus. No neutrons, No electrons, just a proton in the nucleus. That's why they sometimes call hydrogen a proton, or acids a proton donor. Okay? That is why they do it. Okay? Any substance that will give up that proton is an acid, ladies and gentlemen. That's what an acid is. Now, these are some examples of acids. Okay? Now, these first two have hydro in front. What do you notice about their formula compared to these other three? So when you look at these first two formulas compared to these three, what do you notice that's different about them? Helen. What's different about these two formulas compared to these three? In which ones? Yeah, if you'll notice here, there are three different elements in here, aren't there? Hydrogen, phosphorus, oxygen. Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. Hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Very good. How many elements are in here? 2. Okay? So this hydro at the start, ladies and gentlemen, this hydro at the start tells us that there are only 2 elements in our compound. That is what makes this element and this element different from these. Okay? Is that there are only 2 elements in there, and then the name will begin with hydro. Okay? Now they all end in ic acid. They all end in ic acid. Okay? But there were some in the activity that we did that ended with what? What did some of them in the activity? What was the ending on some of those? Look back a slide. Go back one slide, please. Look at how we separated them. They're the ones that begin with hydro. There are the ones that had ic acid, and then there were the ones that what? OUS acid. Let me show you what those are, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is nitric acid. This is nitrous acid. This right here is carbonic acid. This is carbonous acid. Okay, where are you going? Okay, just let me know, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. This is phosphoric acid. This is phosphorus acid. Okay, tell me 2 things that every acid have in common, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at those formulas, tell me 2 things every acid has in common. Every one that is either typed up or written up there. What do they all have in common? They all begin with hydrogen. Good. That's number 1. Second thing they all have in common.
They all have acid at the end.
That's, where do you see acid at the end?
Acid.
I'm looking at formulas, sir. Formulas. These parts over here. These over here. Thank you. They all end in AQ. They all end in AQ. Anybody remember what aqueous means? Right? Nope. You're thinking of AG. You're thinking of silver there. AQ is aqueous. By the way, aqueous. What do you kind of hear in there? What? Aqua, water. That's exactly what it means. It means that all of these substances are dissolved in water. Well, wait a minute. You remember on the last slide when we said that hydrogen atom could attach itself to water? all of these have to be dissolved in water to be acids. If they're not dissolved in water, they're not an acid. Okay? When you put them into water, they become acids. And then they can increase the hydrogen ion concentration because they all have hydrogen at the beginning. Okay, good. These were called hydro at the beginning because there are only two elements here. These do not have hydro at the beginning, but they end with ic acid. These do not have hydro in the beginning, but they end with OUS acid. What's the difference between an ic acid and an OUS acid? What's the difference? Look at formulas again, please. What did I do to nitric acid to make it nitrous acid? What did I do to carbonic acid to make it carbonous acid? What did I do to phosphoric acid to make it phosphorus acid? Well, but this was one, this was one. You are correct. They are different. But here there's two, here there's two, here there's three, here there's still three. But that is a good point. The number of hydrogens is different in each one of these. Okay? Here there was only one hydrogen. That isn't always the case, by the way, with these either. It is possible that these could have two or three. But there is something different about these formulas when we go from here to there. Here to there. But there's a pattern on what I did. What did I do? What about it?
You increased it or decreased it.
By how much?
Volume.
Thank you. Perfect. These compounds here, ladies and gentlemen, are on the back of your periodic table. NO3, CO3, PO4. They are on the back of your periodic table. This is nitrate. This is carbonate. This is phosphate. They are listed on the back of your periodic table. These we didn't really talk about. But this is nitrate minus one oxygen. We call that nitrite, I-T-E ending. This is carbonate, CO3. This is carbonite, CO2. This is phosphate, PO4. This is phosphite, PO3. And you're absolutely correct, Christopher. They all lose one oxygen. They all lose one oxygen. So when you lose one oxygen, we got to change the name. So we changed the name of the compound here from ate to ite. We changed the name of the acid from an ic acid to an OUS acid. Okay? To an OUS acid. Now, we are not going to get into naming acids in this unit. There just isn't time for that. Okay? But you do need to know, or you do need to recognize the difference between hydro, ic, and OUS acids. They are different kinds of acids. Okay? They are different kinds. Okay? And again, there are multiple ways we can look at it. All right. So our next slide, ladies and gentlemen, what makes something an acid? Well, we said what makes it an acid is it increases the hydrogen ion concentration. That is true, but there are also some properties that change when you talk about an acid. So number one, acids taste sour. Acids taste sour. Name me something you eat that tastes sour.
Lemon.
Toxic waste.
Lemon. What? Sour Patch.
Toxic waste. It's a candy.
Okay, thank you. For a minute I was worried about you. Look on Sour Patch Kids, look on toxic waste. In the ingredients, you will find ascorbic acid.
What?
Ascorbic acid. Acids taste sour, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, the juice in a lemon, very acidic. The juice in a grapefruit, very acidic. Even the juice in an orange. But orange juice is fairly sweet, isn't it? Why is orange juice sweet and lemon juice not? They're both acids. Shouldn't they both taste sour?
Because of the sugar in the lemon. or the orange juice.
Correct. Oranges also produce sugars. Lemons do not produce many sugars. So in lemon juice, there is nothing there to cover up the sour taste of an acid. However, in an orange and some other fruits, there is enough sugar that it overcomes the sour taste of an acid. But any of the candies that you're eating that have that sour flavoring on the outside have some sort of acid in there, and it's normally ascorbic acid.
What about
Okay.
What about what?
warheads?
I would assume the same thing because I would assume they're sour. Yes. Okay. Acids turn litmus paper red. So there is a test paper out there that if you dip it into an acid, it's going to turn red in color. And all that tells us is that something is an acid. Okay? Acids are an electrolyte. Anybody remember what an electrolyte was from our conductivity lab? What? No, they are not salts. But salts also do this. We did that experiment at the end where we took the light bulb and put it into each of the solutions. What? They don't give off energy, but they conduct electricity. Okay? An electrolyte conducts an electricity. And why does an electrolyte conduct electricity? Because it creates what in the solution? Salt creates ions. Acids create ions in solution as well, ladies and gentlemen. Acids create ions in solution, okay? It's a substance that when dissolved in water, it conducts an electric current, okay? That's what it is. Acids will neutralize a base. They will neutralize it, okay? But you could also say that a base neutralizes an acid, and we will get to that when we talk about bases tomorrow. So they neutralize each other, ladies and gentlemen. Now remember, there's acids and there's bases, and then there is neither. So when you neutralize each other, you are no longer an acid or a base. You are neither. Okay? You are neither. Acids are corrosive. Okay? Acids are corrosive. That means they will break down substances. Acids will eat away at metals. Acids will be corrosive on your skin. Now lemon juice is not, because it is not a strong enough, concentrated enough acid. But other acids will eat away at your skin. Okay? They will eat away at your skin. All right. We're going to stop there for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I think I got a few more to do, but it doesn't make sense to